It's a lot of birds. This is another brand of ancient grains that I frequently use that I think is just as good. You may prefer one over the other. This is Vans. And I purposely haven't tracked numbers. I just eat almost the same thing every day, basically, and the same amount in totality of food. And I just watch how my body responds with the cardio. And the reason that I'm doing it so loosely is I just want to show you that it doesn't have to be all that. I mean, you just get started, right? Just get started. Get out of the gate. Get out of the chute. Make it start to happen. And just eat sensibly. Roll the cardio in incrementally. The cardio is what's going to set you free, children. The cardio is what's going to get the fat off you and make the difference. The cardio will do it. Keep the water intake up high because you're mostly water. And the cardio is what's going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean you could just overeat. But here's the deal. You know where you're at pretty much just to have a good feel of what you normally consume every single day. And I know from experience in looking at people's diets and assessing them and putting the numbers together for them when they brought it before me, is that a lot of people are out there. They vary greatly from one day to the next. So first you need consistency, because in everything the body prefers consistency and regularity. So you need some consistency, and then if you just start to eat sensibly, stop eating garbage, get that crap out of your diet and eat sensibly, you're going to make progress. Start to do the cardio. Get into the gym and start to work out. Well, I don't know exactly what to do. Hey, just get started. Everybody has enough common sense. You can walk into a gym and look at what's available and you can do something. And with all the information that's available today, the internet, it's so easy today. It's at your fingertips. But the whole main thing is that you've got to motivate yourself enough to do it. Even if you don't feel like doing it, if you know you need to do it, and you know that that's probably going down that road is going to make you feel better about yourself and just improve your life. First thing is start to feel better. Psychologically, emotionally, start to feel better. In a positive way, not in a way that you'll feel guilty about afterwards. Start to feel better. And then you go from there, and you begin to refine things, and you begin to learn things. You don't learn everything immediately.
This should go easy.
George, you going next?
No.
Do some more guillotine presses to the neck?
No. I'm still healing. What's the bell to? Keep the back straight?
Just from blowing his guts out. Straining too hard, get hernia.
Seriously? Is that what
Yeah. If you're using it correctly.
One.
I did chest. So did Andrew, by the way. You don't want to do what I did, chest. I did the chest workout for a guy that's my age, low T, and he's actually rehabbing a slab tear in so much as I'm just trying to do, I haven't free weight bench press since the tear, so this is all new terrain to me. So what I did, I'm sure you can best. But I'll demonstrate the form. I always warm up with a bar. I recommend everybody warm up with a bar. When I was a kid, people told me that. I warmed up with 225, and older guys told me, you're going to destroy your joints doing that. And I didn't listen, or I wish I had. Alright, so breathe down, touch, pause a second, throw it up with authority. Down, throw it up with authority. Down, control, throw it up with authority. Now because I'm warming up, you might see me doing this shit once in a while. But I don't actually bench like that. I bench slower coming down and faster going up, to tell you the truth. Like I said, what I did, you don't want to do. You would be limiting yourself. Oh. I'm going to just come over here because, again, I'm dealing with the shoulder, so stability issues are an issue. Grab these dumbbells. I can't put my elbows out and bench it. The stability's too shaky on this shoulder right now, just at this point. So I keep them close together and I keep my head up. I actually can feel a difference in where this my chest and head's almost melting over. Just press it like this. All right, so I'm just doing it like this. You can still see the variance in the dumbbells. I'm trying to keep them similar, but the shoulders only let me do so much mechanically. I said, turn the camera on. Val said, oh my goodness, I never thought I'd see that day. Because Andrew's so much bigger than me now. See? She never thought you
only took me 3 years. When did we meet? 2000 and
I don't know.
I do. It was 2000. I met you when I was 19, 23, so 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
It was right before I went back to Westchester for my last semester, for my last year. So that would have been 2015.
Look at that pec, man. Look at that pec. Looking good.
Kind of bounce a little bit. They're kind of full.
That's my little A cups.
Only took me 3 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm a lot smaller.
Still got 21s though, right?
No.
What are they now?
Yours are bigger than mine.
I measured them. Mine were 20 flat, well, a little over 20 flat, and then they were a little over 21 pumps. They were about 21 and a half for a pump. Mean pump.
Mine are.
Tell George to get the. George!
Yeah, I don't know what mine are now. I don't even want to know. It's psychological blow my mind. Hey, how much more are you going to do? Are you done, or what are you going to do? Pose, squeeze?
Pose. Yeah, maybe some calves. I haven't trained my calves in like 2 weeks.
Because we're getting ready to make some phone calls.
Yeah.
We might be calling you. I already know who we're calling, but you never know. Look, your lat looks good when you do that. Look at that. Look at that lat. It's big.
I'm starting to get a little more, finally get some thickness.
Yeah, density up close here. I'm losing all mine.
Okay, let me get through the mirror.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, for Andrew.
Yeah. So my chest workout. Chest workout today, what I did was I free weight flat bench, bar bench with Val. And I didn't push that much weight, but it's improving, it's feeling better. There's no sense in really videoing all of it because it's not really a good example of much of anything. It's just an example of how a guy trains at my age when he's really wrecked his shoulder, busted his shoulder up, and he's just now finally returning to free weight bench press after 2 years. I mean, everything else I have done has been things that could enable me to continue to maintain or hold or even build a little size without the luxury of being able to flat bench, free weights. And I haven't been able to do any real dumbbell stuff until now. Now, the surprising thing for me is I can do some dumbbell stuff now, even though it requires more stability in many regards than the barbell bench press, except with the barbell bench, you're kind of locked together. There's no independent stabilization, not really, very little, between right and left side when you compare it to a dumbbell bench press. But anyway, so my dumbbell bench press is a variation of a dumbbell press. I'm not able to do your typical, what you would imagine a really proper form dumbbell bench press is. So I do what I can do, and it's going to make progress. It's going to help me. So that's what I'm doing. I don't suggest that any of you guys follow my workout and do that. Why should you have to do that? What I would recommend that you do is you do a flat bench. I'm a big advocate of flat barbell bench. No matter what stage of development you have or where you're at in your training, even if you're just starting out, flat barbell bench. I think that it's always better to err on the lighter side than to overestimate your ability and put too much weight on something and get an injury. You can't take an injury back, but you can always add another plate if you want too light that first set. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to add weight than it is to regret having been overly ambitious and put too much weight on something that you weren't ready for and enticed an injury. So the main thing is, proper form, okay? Don't let your ego get involved. Lift with good form, good sense, deliberate control. Control. Everything's deliberate. It's not haphazard. It's not wobbly. It's not going wherever it goes just as long as it goes up. That's not good enough. That's not the smart way to do it, especially if you're older. If you're older, it's really not a smart thing to do. So start out wherever you got to start out. Start out too light is the best advice I could give you. And then from there, cautiously increase the workload, increase the amount of weight. So I would definitely do a barbell flat bench press, and then I would do some type of manner of dumbbell press. If you want to do a dumbbell incline press, that's fine. If you want to do a dumbbell flat press, that's fine. If and behind that, I guess I would go and do some manner of fly next. Just typical stuff, nothing really special. You could do a dumbbell fly on a flat bench. You could do it as an incline. You could try it out and just experiment. Spread your wings, experience it a bit, and see what you prefer. Depending on how it feels to you, what you think makes a better workout, how you would prefer to thereafter line up these exercises. I would try a few different exercises and variations so that you can just gain experience with it. And again, if you're just starting out, err on the lighter side just out of an overabundance of caution. You could also, if you didn't want to do a dumbbell fly for whatever reason, you could do a butterfly machine, a chest machine that you're doing some kind of a butterfly. One of the ones that you typically just your arms up on the pad and you're pushing like this, right? Or it could be something you grab handles and do like this kind of motion. Whatever you have, you just flex your chest, activate those chest muscles as much as you can. What I like to do when I'm pressing anything, bench pressing or whatever, I like to envision that I'm trying to squeeze my pecs together as I come up. My shoulders are coming around and squeezing that weight up. That's what's bringing my pecs, flexing, contracting my pecs around, rotating those shoulders, squeezing those shoulders in to bring that weight up. And I like to keep my elbow in line with my wrist. Wherever I'm pressing, I like this straight. I like the elbow underneath of my hands when I'm doing like a bench barbell press, or even when I'm doing a dumbbell press. And there are variations of things other people could do, like something with a dumbbell close grip and things like that, but you're still, it's different, and yet it's not that different, but you worry about that later. Just get the basics down, stick to the basics, tried and true things. Full range of motion, come down, touch your chest, take a little stop and then push it up. Come down, touch your chest, a little stop, and then push it up. And push it up quickly, explode up. That's what I would recommend you do. Initially, when you start out, maybe even do it a little bit more slowly so that you can just try to develop good form. I'm going to tell you the truth of the matter is the mechanics, which I could get into great detail about, and you know what, I will later on as we go along, but the mechanics of the diet, the mechanics of the exercise, the mechanics of the cardio, all of these things, you need to know this blueprint, every other thing, but that's not that's not the most important ingredient in your success, or the ability for you to succeed and obtain your fitness goals. That's not the most important ingredient. None of those things are. The most important ingredient is you and your mindset and your heart, your desire. How ambitious are you? How much do you want to do it? Can you push yourself when you're on that treadmill and you're gasping for a little bit of air? Maybe you're running. You're pushing your envelope a little bit, and all you have to do is stop. All you have to do is stop. Or you get your heart rate up into that fat burning zone, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's always going to be uncomfortable if you're pushing yourself sufficiently. I'm not saying you go until you collapse. You don't. But you do have to push yourself. You have to get your heart up there into that fat burning zone. It's where I like to be. Just the typical recommended heart rate, beats per minute, is a good starting point for you if you don't know where to be or you don't know what it feels like. Just look. Most of the cardio equipment will have a chart on it. It'll have your age, and it'll give you a range, heartbeat from here to here, and you're in that fat burning zone. It's a good starting point. If you have a piece of cardio equipment that doesn't have a chart on it, you can Google it, and endlessly they're available, and you can find that, and that's a good starting point. Now, the time it takes you to get your heart rate up to that fat burning zone, that doesn't count. The time you take to cool down afterwards, that doesn't count. So if you're going to do, I recommend a minimum of 15 minutes, but you really, really want to do 20. That's what you really want to do. For a starting point is 20 minutes. And I recommend initially, you only need to do this 2, maybe 3 times a week. That's it. 2 or 3 20-minute sessions per week initially. And the fat should start to come off if you're doing effective cardio. You drink all the water you want while you're doing this. You got to have that heart rate in that fat burning zone. Get it up there, keep it up there for the duration. Like I said, if it takes you 2 minutes to get up there, that 2 minutes doesn't count toward that total 20, if that's what you're shooting for, is 20. Then if you take an additional 2 minutes to cool down or what have you, slow down slowly, that doesn't count toward that total 20. So you would have done 24 minutes. You would have did 24 minutes if you took 2 minutes to get your heart rate up and 2 minutes to cool down. But the 20 is what matters. What else do we need to know? Okay, what should it feel like? It kind of feels, good rule of thumb is you should be uncomfortable enough when your heart rate's in the right area that it would be uncomfortable for you to have a conversation with a person. It would be uncomfortable. However, it is not impossible. If you get to the point where you couldn't have a conversation with another person, it was just impossible, now the heart rate's too fast. That's the best idea I can give you. A number of ways, don't neglect that you can put an incline on that thing. If you don't want to move that quickly, or you don't have to, go like a bat out of hell on that machine to get your heart rate up there. Nobody can look at you and determine what your heart's doing. Only you know that, via a heart monitor. Recommend you go out and you buy one if you're really serious. Get one from Walmart or something. They're like between $20 and $30. Most pieces of cardio equipment, probably all of them, have one on there. There's no guarantee that the particular piece of equipment that you have or you get on that it works or it's accurate. But they're fairly accurate in general. They're usually accurate if they're if they function, But there's no guarantee. You might get on a piece of equipment and it's broken, doesn't work, or your own at home may not work. So you're probably better off, and for consistency's sake, just to go buy one if you have that luxury. I like to do my cardio first thing in the morning. When I get up, I can have water, I can have black coffee. That's it. So that's pretty much what they call fasted cardio nowadays. I slept all night long, so of course I fasted. I'm not eating, I'm not having a meal while I'm asleep. And then I get up in the morning on an empty stomach. Like I said, I can have some water. I can have all the water I want during the cardio. It's a good idea. And I could have black coffee pre-cardio, but that's it, nothing else. And then after I do my cardio, then I can have my morning breakfast. And you know what I have for breakfast? I've been showing you over and over. It's the ancient grain waffles, the peanut butter, and my peanut butter has one ingredient, peanuts, that's it. It's the ancient grains, the peanut butter, and the organic blueberries. That's what I have. That's my breakfast. It's also my pre-workout breakfast, which I like it. I think it's great. Then I'll have the yogurts with the chia seeds, which I showed you, the fat-free yogurt with chia seeds. I love them. In the course of the day, I'll eat at least 2 of those. They're kind of like snacks. Then lunchtime, I'm going to have either tuna fish salad, like tuna salad, or I'm going to have chicken salad. And that's usually going to be about 35 to 40 grams of protein in that amount of tuna or chicken, whichever I have. I will eat that, not now, but initially I was eating that on rye bread. Now I'm finished with the bread. As I move along, I tighten things down little by little. Initially, you don't need to tighten things down that much. If you haven't been eating properly, you need just a sensible diet, a sensibly healthy diet is going to be sufficient, and that cardio is going to have great significance anyway. You're going to get in shape. But like I said, the most important ingredient is you and your mindset and your determination. You have to do it. You have to do it. You know, when you're stressed and you're under stress on that treadmill, or if you have questionable knees and you don't want the impact of the treadmill, you may choose a recumbent bicycle. I think it's a little more difficult, but it will work. If you're really in pretty good shape and you really want a challenge, then do an elliptical or do a stair stepper. Stair steppers are killer. But when you start to suffer, all you have to do is stop and it comes to an end, right? So that's why you're the main ingredient. Your success, you're the linchpin it all hinges upon, because you can't stop. You have to be willing to go there. You have to be willing to push yourself and challenge yourself. And when you first begin to do cardio, you're probably going to be dizzy when you get off that machine, either the first time or the second time. 1 or 2 times you're going to be dizzy, and then your body will adjust to it so quickly that probably by the 3rd session you're not going to be dizzy anymore. All right? Give it a little time, see what happens, and when the fat stops coming off, progress stops coming, just like with weight training, you incrementally turn it up. Crank up the intensity, crank up the volume, crank up whatever, and that means that the cardio, you can either add another session of 20 minutes, or if you're already doing 3 sessions and you don't want to do a 4th one, it's too inconvenient, then you extend the 3 sessions by 5 minutes each. So now you're doing 3 25-minute sessions. And then again, when the results stop coming, then you may add another session. So now you might be doing 4 25-minute sessions. And maybe later on, the next thing you would do is maybe add 5 minutes to each of those. And they're doing 4 30-minute sessions. But the point is, you always have to be able to step it up, elevate your game as you acquire better physical condition, better cardiovascular condition. So if you jump in with both feet and you're doing too much cardio initially, then you're going to get a bunch of weight off, but in the end, that last bit's going to be really stubborn, because you're going to find yourself doing cardio day and night, and you're going to be sick of it. And it's going to be very difficult to coax your body into responding with any kind of fat loss, because your cardiovascular conditioning is going to be good regardless of the last bit of body fat that you wish you could get off. I mean, you'll still be able to get it off, but I like to make it as easy as possible, because none of it's easy. Nothing about it's really easy, so I like to make it as easy as it can be. So, having said that, that's why I haven't really gotten into great detail about the workout or the food. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a very good suggestion for a meal, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make it along with Val right here in this video. And this is what my dinner is every night. This is my chicken chili. And you'll see it's not your typical chicken chili. It's awesome. It's chock full of protein. It's delicious. It is delicious. I think the food needs to be something that you can sustain in your diet. It's healthy. It's not drastic and over-the-top kind of stuff, okay? We're not professional bodybuilders. We're people who have to live a well-rounded, complete lifestyle. And the food needs to taste good. The food needs to satisfy you. It has to be more than just food. You really need to, if you've been eating crap and you eat for enjoyment and you overeat, you got to rein all that in, but I'm not going to say that you have to give up everything and all the junk that you eat, and you're also going to have to eat bland food and eat just like a bodybuilder. No, you're not. You can still eat good food, good, decent meals that are very, very tasty, and you're still going to be able to get in shape, and you can maintain yourself that way. So this is what I eat right now every night for dinner. So come on with us and let's show you how it's made, and maybe you'll find that it's much to your liking. If you try it, I promise you, you will like it. All right, the chicken chili that I eat, Val whips up a whole bunch of it on Sunday to meal prep it, separates them into containers, freezes some of it, some goes in the refrigerator. I eat that all week long. It's a very healthy meal that still does not sacrifice taste and flavor. I don't believe in getting rid of all the taste and flavor. Like I said, this is a diet, a regular guy diet that you can take. A dad can take and lose that dad bod, or you can just go ahead and get back in shape. It's just healthy eating, and you have to eat palatable food. You still have to be able to eat real food so that you can stick to it. And this, I think, is a good choice. I really like it. It's a staple. I eat it like every day for dinner. So here's what it looks like, and here's how it's made. These are the ingredients that make it up.
You wanted extra chicken?
Extra chicken in it.
So there's 4 pounds, a little over 4 pounds of chicken thighs. Boneless, skinless. Can of tomato paste. Diced tomatoes. Tablespoon of chili powder. A teaspoon of garlic powder. Teaspoon Italian season. Teaspoon of cumin. Teaspoon of thyme. A half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. A can of black beans. An onion, a red pepper, and a half a cup of organic corn.
Okay, and didn't you have something?
And chicken broth. I don't use oil, so I saute in chicken broth, and plus, that's the base.
And didn't you have, you pre-mixed all your spices together?
This is all the spices together.
Just all mixed in a container together.
That way.
In the amounts that you just listed.
Correct.
And that way you can just dump that in.
Correct.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, I add a little bit of vegetable broth in the pan, and I just cook the thighs. They don't have to be done all the way through because they're going to cook in the chili. But I try to cook them almost pretty well done, like close to being done.
And they're just being sauteed in chicken broth? Is that what's happening?
Just chicken broth. It has its own fat, so there's no need to add. You know, there's some fat left on it, so.
And what's that, already 1 pack, and this is the second pack?
This is the first pack with 2 that didn't
And 2 left over. So this will be 4 pounds total?
Mm-hmm.
And you cut them up, or they're going to go in there like that?
I put them in like this because they fall apart.
Yeah, I love it like that. Big, large chunks of chicken there like that.
And they fall apart.
And these are no bones, right?
Skinless, boneless.
Skinless, boneless thighs.
I don't season them or anything.
No seasoning or anything. It's all in the chili anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, what's this next part?
I just poured some chicken broth in there and brought it to a boil.
How much chicken broth? How do you know how much?
I just pour it in. I'm going to wind up using the whole container.
Oh, you'll end up using that whole container anyway.
Yeah, there's 4 cups in here.
Okay. And then what'd you just put in there?
Peppers and onions, and they're going to saute for about 5 minutes or so.
So what's that, 1 whole of each?
Yeah, whole onion and whole pepper.
Okay, saute that for about 5 minutes, and then what?
Then you'll come back and I'll show you how to add the rest of the ingredients.
The next step. Okay.
Now we're going to add a can of diced tomatoes, tomato paste, can. Forgot. I like to throw this in because we like garlic. Tablespoon.
And what is that?
Minced garlic in water.
Minced garlic in water.
Not oil. The beans.
Corn. How much corn is that?
Half cup.
Half a cup.
The rest of the chicken broth. And depending on the consistency, if you like it thick or thin, you know, whatever. the seasonings. Let this all cook up. I might actually put more chicken broth in there depending on what it looks like after I put the chicken in. Put the chicken in now. Like I said, they're not cooked all the way.
And I'm telling you, these big pieces of chicken thighs are delicious in there when you eat this as chili in a bowl.
It'll break up.
So good. Yeah, it breaks up more than that. It's super tender.
That's why I don't cook it all the way, because it's going to cook in here.
By the time it's finished, this chili is so tender, it's unbelievable.
And I'll bring it to a boil, and I'll simmer it for about 50 minutes, an hour, on low, you know, just simmer. And then it's done. You can serve it over rice. You could just eat it like this. See, it's gross. And then
Val's vegan, so it's awesome of her to make this for me.
yeah, I'm gonna bring it to a boil. It's getting ready to boil. I'll put it down on low, and I'll put a lid on it and let it, you know, simmer for an hour. To me, it's too soupy, but
I think it's awesome. It's delicious. It's great. There's a big piece of chicken in there. It's wonderful. Wonderful.